Bro, my buddy, my good friend Justin Larrance and fellow nutrition coach. Welcome back to the show, my man. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited to be here. It's been like what since episode 2 of your podcast? Since I've been on this podcast anyway.
Yeah. It's funny because I don't know if I sent it to you, but on Facebook, I actually, when I was on your podcast,
You
it was
did.
it was like a year ago, like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, damn, time flies, man.
It's insane. That was a year ago. I didn't even realize that was a year ago.
Dude, that's fast, ain't it? That feels like we just did that like 6 months ago.
Wow, it did. It does. It really does.
That just
That's
puts things into perspective, like how fast time really does fly when you have your head down and just keep working.
for sure, man. That is crazy. That was my podcast. So we
Yeah.
did my podcast then, and then you started yours shortly after that, and recorded an episode there, and just been moving along ever since.
Dude, it's crazy. How was the move a couple weekends ago? I'll see the community hasn't heard from you for a while, but you just moved like literally right down the street in the same complex where you live, but you just went to like the next biggest on the blueprint, right? The bigger house on the blueprint.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I can actually almost see my front door of our old place looking out my window as we speak right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we just moved into a bigger place that has it's a townhouse rather than like an apartment building, and it has a garage and like an actual office space downstairs, which is where I'm at right now, which is really nice for work, and especially considering the current situation of the world right now. Because like for you and I, like I mean, you train clients at the gym, and I coach some classes and stuff like that, but I work from home anyway, so it's nice to have this office. But now Shelby's also working from home. So the last apartment, we had like 1 week of that where we both were pretty much sitting on top of each other working. And it was like she'd be on a conference call, I could hear her talking, I'd be mumbling or something, and we'd be like, "Hey, can you be quiet?" Like we're trying to
Right.
work. And now she can sit upstairs and work. I'm sitting downstairs, and yeah, it's nice, man. It was a good move. I had a friend with a truck help, which definitely helped because it was during the time when stuff was just starting to hit with this COVID-19 situation. So like social distancing was starting, but there weren't like actual government mandates on not being able to leave yet,
Right.
or
Right.
anything like that. Um, but I was still nervous to like ask random people for help. But I had a buddy from the gym come help me, and we got moved in. Um, and then we moved in at a good time when both of us, when there's nothing to do now and nothing. So our house is already organized. Instead of taking that 2 or 3 weeks to get everything in place, we're both sitting at home and got the house organized in a few days. Shelby did most of it. I can't really take too much credit.
Yeah, I think it's like when you move and you both have jobs, it's like those soda head boxes in the corner and shit, like weeks on end. Like,
Yeah,
hey, let's get to that this weekend, and then you sit down. And it's like, hey, it's Monday. You're like, well, I'll get to that this weekend. Like,
seriously. No,
next thing you know,
no
you still
excuse
got
now.
books.
Yeah, we have no
all,
excuse for that.
all the time in the world. You can even paint the walls right now if you wanted to.
Yeah, for real.
So how's it going with all your coaching? So because you work for a company called Method, and why don't you explain that a little bit? And that's over in Australia, right?
Yeah, so I do the same exact job I did when I like worked for myself. Still a nutrition coach, still the same like ethics behind it and coaching strategies. But they are based in Australia. They basically just give me clients, that fit me. Like that's what's nice about having that company that has several coaches is like the people in the office, the girls that work there can like look at the client, see what their needs are, and then see where our strong points as coaches are, and hand give us clients that kind of fit us as individuals. Obviously, like there's a client who's a mother of three, that's busy. Obviously, she's probably going to be better with one of our coaches who's a mother and that's a busy mom, and they can relate better. And that, so a lot of the guys I get are guys that are wanting to be athletes or that are just living everyday normal lives that are just trying to be fitter. That's a lot of my client base. It's going well still. This is definitely taking a little hit with what's going on right now, for sure. I've had a few people have to put their accounts on hold, and a few people have to cancel. And it makes sense. I understand, like, if you're out of work, I understand like having a coach is a luxury. But the people that have stayed, that have been on the fence a little bit with it, I've just had that conversation. I'm like, look, right now is like, and I'm not just saying this because that is my income, but there's no better time to have somebody to help hold you accountable and push you forward, because we're at a time in the world right now where we can go one of two ways. We can either come out of this and we make progress and we improve our lives and improve our habits, because most of the time, most people have not had this much time at home. And I think you made a post the other day about how much time we have now. And like, when was the last time you said, man, I wish I had more time? Well,
Dude.
here it is. What are you going to do with it? And then there's going to be the other people on the other side of the fence that just kind of load around all day and make every single excuse in the world to do nothing. And then they come out of this in a month or two, and where are they at? they digressed, they went backwards. And I know who I want to be, I know who you want to be, and I know where, if you're listening to this podcast, I know the person you want to be, because you're trying to better yourself. It sucks. It's a shitty situation, but it could be a blessing in disguise for a lot of people.
I think it's a huge blessing in disguise for, I hope, a lot of people. I think a lot of people are starting to see, like, okay, listen, I think, well, for me personally, I can say, and I'm probably you too, it's like, okay, we kind of I already got knocked down with this. I got knocked down. I got back up. I wiped my lip off. I wiped the blood off. I'm like, all right, cool. Now what? And it's kind of like that, that's just my mentality. I know that's your mentality as well. But like you were saying, to piggyback off what you said, like, it may sound biased coming from two coaches right now talking about coaching on basically a fucking coaching podcast right now, but this is the most opportune time to invest in yourself with a coach. And coaches right now, believe it or not, they'll give you their first month, half off, and you can dive in with them and all these things. But it's like, listen, someone that keeps you accountable right now is going to be your best friend, because there is so much that can go wrong, man. You can really look at this and take this in such a negative light, and you can let this thing run all over you. And we always say this, right? Like, you got to be in charge of what you're doing in your life. You cannot let your life just run over you and you try to keep up with it. This is coming, and it's going to come when it comes. It's going to come even harder in this next 30 days. Shit, we may be looking at this in the next 30, 60, maybe even 90 days. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. So guess what? That external force is happening. Whether you want it to, whether you believe in it, whether you think it's conspiracy or not, this shit's happening. It's happening right now. And what this is going to teach you, and how you're going to show the world who you really are when this thing kind of tails off. And like you said, we can grow or we can get small. There's really no gray area with this.
Absolutely. I mean, here's a way that I kind of like looked at it. I've been picking up journaling a lot more, which I always try to do a little bit anyway in the morning. But with the extra time, and like, it just really helped me kind of cope with the situation a lot more. I know you're big on our morning routine. It's helped me develop. I've been talking with my clients a lot about that. A lot of my conversations lately have not been about nutrition. I mean, they have, like, obviously we need to talk about nutrition as a nutrition coach, but a lot of it's been other like external factors that can come into play to, help us improve. But if we look at it in this sense of, what if this is how life was forever? Like, what if this is just the new norm forever? What would you do? Now, it's not going to be the new norm forever. Like you said, we got, 30, 60, 90 days, and we don't know, but say 90 days right now at the worst. That would suck. But say this was forever. What would you do? Would you sit around and like just sulk in your sadness and stress about it? Or would you figure out what your new norm is going to be, and what your new routine is going to be, and how you're going to deal with this like quarantine life? Because I think that's the mindset we should probably try to take into it. And that's kind of how I've been trying to approach it. And I spent way too much money on gym equipment because that's who I am. I want to be able to work out. So I'm like, all right, we're going to make a gym in my house so I can live the most normal life as I possibly can. And other people can be doing that for anything. Like, you don't need to go out and buy a full gym, but maybe look for a dumbbell. You can do a lot with one dumbbell. You can do a lot with minimal equipment. And as much as people are making excuses about grocery stores being sold out of food, they're really not. I've had no problem finding all the food I want. I had to switch my meat sources up. Like, I don't know if anybody else has come across this, but like, a lot of the meat is kind of handpicked, especially in my area.
Yeah.
But I looked through, there were like a ton of like full-size turkeys and these Cornish hens. Like, guys, you can buy those and cook them.
Dude, I started off with 2, because in the past I've done Cornish hens, but I found frozen Cornish hens. I'm like, oh dude, these are like two, they're like $2.99 a piece or something like that. I bought 2 of them. I cooked them for me and my girlfriend, Carrie Ann. Dude, we loved them. I was like, okay, so this is forcing you to think outside the box, right? Like, when's the last time you cooked turkey? When's the last time you had Cornish hen? When's the last time you made a roast, pork roast, any type of roast in a crock pot? Like, dude, it's okay. And like, I just talked about this with Allie Parkerson on my last podcast. It's like, you need to cycle your proteins, fats, and carbs anyway, man. You shouldn't be eating the same old bullshit, chicken and rice and broccoli every day.
100%. This is the best time to do it. That's been a big conversation I've been having with people. Like, all right, maybe you're forced to play around with some new recipes. Guess what? Most of us are stuck at home anyway. Take that time to learn how to cook something new. And then when this is all over, you take that skill for the rest of your life with you, which is a big place of what I think people need to switch that mindset shift to, of like, where can I improve? Where can I be positive? And that goes for our nutrition and daily habits, sleep habits, stress how we attack stress daily, how we do our workouts. Dude, how many trainers after this, like, as you look at, as you're a trainer, I love programming and stuff like that too. How much different do you think your training is going to be now when you program for clients? Because there's so many different movements that we're having to think outside of the box to give clients these different workouts for, like so much different tempo work. Maybe a lot of trainers weren't programming tempo work. Maybe you were, so great. Maybe you weren't programming a lot of unilateral work.
Right.
Um,
No one does.
no one does, and everyone needs to do that. You need unilateral work every single week, and that's what I've been telling a lot of my clients. Like, the method is a nutrition based platform, but I'll give you workouts one week. I don't care. Like, I'm just looking to make you better, like, no matter what that is, and that's what coaching is. So I've been telling people, like, all right, well, all you have is a 35-pound dumbbell. So let's slow down the movement and do some unilateral stuff. Like, there's just so much. I know that it's gonna, as a trainer, it's gonna help a lot of trainers grow, but it should help people, that have trainers grow too. And like, the idea is with the trainer or coach is to take that knowledge and learn and grow as you grow as an individual, and take that with you way past needing a coach. So why not take this knowledge that you can get from these thousands of online workouts that are flooding the internet right now, and grow and learn and program a few workouts for yourself or something.
Dude, that's like so important to do that right now, especially like you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to invest a bunch of money in equipment. Like, you had a garage, you and your fiance, you guys were like, hey, let's do the garage gym. We have a garage now. So you invest in it because the ROI on that's huge, right? A lot of people might not have the money to do that right now, but hey, you know what? Carrie Ann just bought some TRX straps off of Amazon. Guess what? We're making payments on them, dude. We're making like 3 payments, pays them off. They're kind of pricey, but they're the actual TRX straps. We can put around our door. Like, people, you can afford to do stuff like that. Like, go to the local, I don't know, go to any local store. You could pick up a pair of dumbbells. You could pick up some slam balls or something. If you don't want to invest that much money, make some payments online. Like, this is going to be the norm for at least, like we said, 30 to 90 days. It doesn't have to be that way, but right now isn't a time to sit down and not do anything. Like, there's so much that we can be doing. And that's the thing too, even with food. Like, here's one way that we thought outside the box. We have this thing called Every Plate. It's like anything else out there. You get like meals shipped to your house, right? But you cook them. So you cook them together. So we get 3 different meals. It feeds both of us 3 different times throughout the week for X amount of dollars. And there's 3 different recipes that we pick from online thing. And dude, I'm cooking stuff like I haven't cooked in a very long time. It's veggies. It's all these things that you don't normally do. You're making everything's from scratch. It all comes in the box, and you kind of just make your meals, from the ingredient list, the recipe. And it's something really to think outside the box. And right now you can get those boxes. Like, they're giving those away right now. I think we got the first 3 orders for like 30% off, and then it goes to a regular price. And it's still inexpensive if you look at it. Like, yeah, of course, they're not these big, humongous meals that maybe you are used to, because you eat so much, because you do so much training. But like, it's nice to sit down to a nice, perfectly balanced meal that, you took some time and you cooked for yourself. And dude, honestly, we haven't done that since this fucking thing hit. We haven't like both sat down. We're so busy. But now It's like, hey, it's dinner time. Come to the table. And it feels fucking good, man.
Yeah, and you're doing it together. You guys are cooking. That's a time that you 2 guys spend together, because a lot of people are stuck in the house with their significant other, their kids right now. And like, we might be getting at each other's throats a little bit. And like, it's good to take that time. And like, maybe why are we changing our routine so much when this hits? Like, you can still have a date night or something like that. And that's something that, as I say that out loud, that's something that I need to try to do, like this weekend with Shelby is, like, maybe that date night's in your house. Maybe you make dinner together.
Yeah.
Maybe something simple as tacos, or like that meal that you're saying. There's so many options we can do to keep our life as normal as possible. And another thing, like when we're talking about routines, you are going to have to build a new routine around this, because your life is different right now. It is for a lot of us when we're still at home. Now, some people still have essential jobs, are still going to work. Not much has changed, except maybe the gym's closed. But you're going to have to build a new routine. But a mistake I've seen a couple of my clients doing this, and I want to call it a mistake as much as like to proceed this with caution, is doing this crazy routine where you're just all in, you're training twice a day. You're maybe you're not meal prepping anymore because you're sitting at home and you're just cooking meals as you go, which is fine. You have that freedom now, but whatever you're building right now, you don't want it to be so ridiculous that whenever this ends and you go back to normal life, that it falls apart. And then you're like, what is going on?
Right.
Because that's an issue I've seen with some people. And I'm kind of like, I'm like, hey, it's great if you have time to do that right now, but like, don't lose those habits of like what happens when life is normal again and you're going to work, because that that's what life is going to be. Like, this is a short period of time. Like, this is
Right.
one little moment in our lives, and we're looking to build habits for the rest of our lives. So while you do need to build your new routine and make it different, I don't think people should do so much crazy shit to where it's like, whenever life goes back to normal, you get hit in the face and you're like, I can't keep up with this. And then you feel like you're failing again. That's not good.
Well, positive steps, like positive
Yeah.
routines they're going to make you better each day, like,
Yeah.
and like you said, like if you got that I'm all in right now, the gym's closed and I'm going to go run in the morning, I'm going to lift weights at night. And like, I'm going to go at it. If that wasn't your norm to begin with, don't try to create something out of the thin air. Don't just think, oh, because you're at home, like, dude, slow the fuck down. Maybe this is a good time for you. Maybe you need who has been sleeping better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting to bed at better times. I can sleep in when I want to. I don't have to wake up when my alarm goes off at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Like now the routine's changed a little bit. Has it kind of messed up with my circadian rhythm? Of course it has, but we have to adapt to overcome the situations that we're in on the fly all the time. And that's life, man. That's life. We know if we have the most solid nighttime and morning routines, like we've talked about a billion times on our podcast, if those are so solid, like those still have a tendency to fall apart because life happens and it's totally fine. And I think right now it's take a step back, take a breather. When's the last time you actually went outside for a walk in the sunshine like today without your phone? Sit down on a bench that you find next to a park. Go sit in the grass and just relax for a second. Take some deep breaths. When's the last time you're able to do those types of things? I think that's what a lot of people are kind of forgetting about right now. Like you said in the very beginning of this podcast, like it can be a blessing in disguise, man. This is time. I'm like, look, I mean, even something as small as, hey, I started my YouTube channel the other day, just like that.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to start it. I didn't know how to start it. And all of a sudden, like, ding, I'm an idiot. I have this is the 24th or 25th episode of the Everyday Growth Podcast. Why have I not been putting all these on YouTube? So now I'm like, oh, let's get that started. So then I had to teach myself how to make thumbnails on Canva. I mean, these are just little things, like I'm learning as this thing goes on. Because why? Because I have the time, but we have to continue to exercise that brain, man. You know what I'm saying? We have to exercise our brain power.
Yeah, everybody's so concerned about missing out on the gym and missing out on exercise of their body, their physical body, when we have all this time to now, expand our minds and learn something new. Like, that's great that you did that. You took action on something you've been wanting to do. And then it just hit you that I don't really have to do that much work because I have 24 videos that I can put up. And then the best way to do something is just to start. Like, you're not going to be a pro at YouTube right now. And that.
Right.
And how are you going to get better if you don't do it? Like, practice makes perfect in any situation, including that. And I'm glad you said that, like with the routines, I'm backing up a little bit, like building positive routines. And one of the biggest things people are doing right now, and I've noticed this because I got a Whoop strap, which for those of you that don't know is it's basically just another fitness tracker. Super cool. Like, you can add friends. I've actually added all my clients that have Whoop on there, and I can see how many hours they sleep. They're like exercise strain and all that stuff. But I notice how good people's sleep is right now. And it's really cool to see. And those are things that I think people can build those habits up and then take with after this is over. Like, what's your sleep routine look like? And do you notice how much better you're sleeping?
Right.
And then same with the morning routine. Like, we have time to do this stuff. And then when we build those and actually make these deep habits that are just stuck with us after who knows how many days. We have plenty of days in the house. We already have had plenty of days in the house to build a new habit. And it's only increasing more. We have at least till May, we know, as a federal thing, like Trump put on, till at least May 1st, we are on lockdown. Who knows if it's going to get extended? It got extended last time. So build those habits up, build some good habits, change your life. Like, work on some areas that you want to work on that maybe you've been putting off. There's so many things. Like, I've always wanted to get better at programming, and I was just looking at a few programming certifications. Like, I looked at OPEX. I was looking at right before we got on the podcast. I was searching through it, and I was going to send them a little message, just inquire how much the certification cost, just to continue education. There's a lot of things people want to do. We have the time now, guys. Why not act on it?
It's 100%, man. And it's like what you do today, speaks volumes for tomorrow. And like, if you start to nail down a routine that you're like, let's just do honestly, like, you want to practice something as simple as this. If you've always been someone who hits the snooze button, don't hit it. When your alarm goes off, set your alarm on the other side of the room. Number one, when your alarm goes off, get up. Just practice getting up. Let's start there. Then if it's something like, I need to eat more fruits and veggies, awesome. Start there. And look at it this way. Don't look at it as, well, these guys are saying I need to start all these new things and yada, yada. Listen, we're saying it because you have this time to do it, number one. But number two, which is the bigger picture that we're trying to talk about here, is you're going to carry this with you. That's the whole point to start these routines. They will become your routine all the time. Guess what? If you're getting your sleep, you're waking up, you're not hitting your snooze, you eat breakfast same time every single morning. If that's something you haven't been doing and now you're doing it, when you get off that rhythm, when you go back to your regular life, you're going to be like, dude, something's off. You're not going to want to go back to that person you were. So it's almost like it's a clean slate. You're almost fixing those bad habits that you have right now. That's what we want you to do. We're not saying tack on new things that you've never done before and then try to juggle the other shit you've been doing. Like, no, let's get rid of the negative things in our life and let's try to capitalize on that. So then we do in the next 30, 45, 90 days, we have things that are new and we're like, hey, I like the person I am now. And guess what? Now you just created something for your lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just one of those things where you have the time and why not take advantage of it? Something I actually wanted to talk to you about was with your clients and yourself too now, are you kind of, because I had a lot of clients asking this as well too, like, what do calories look like right now? Have you been cutting people's calories? Do you believe in, I know there's a couple coaches right now that I'm on the fence. I'm not taking their side or taking the other side. I don't want to be that boisterous person, but like they're putting people in deficits right now. And I'm like, I don't know about that. But you can adjust their TDEE, you can adjust some things. Their activity level's probably down a little bit. But really, for me, I'm going to go ahead and say on my side of the coin is you probably shouldn't make too many adjustments. I mean, like your caloric burn in the gym is usually around 10%. So a lot of your movement should be coming just from you walking around, man. Like, where are you at with that kind of like strategy? And if people have been brought up to you like, hey, dude, I need to cut calories. I am going to cut calories all the way down.
Absolutely. It's definitely been brought up by several people. I'm in the fence of it. It's all still individualizing. It's like a generic answer, but like I have a high amount of clients right now and enough to where I've seen it all a little bit. I'm not the person that's going to slash your calories just because the gyms are closed. Because like you said, like what, 5 to 10% of your total calories burnt come from exercise in the gym. So I'm more so of like just telling people like, look, we can't be just sitting around all day. Like, what did you used to do in your job? Were you moving around? Like, let's go on a few walks. We're at home. Maybe take a few steps up and down the stairs. Stand up while you're working. Little things like that. I don't think we need to slash calories. Right. If anything, say we did have to slash calories, slash them 5%. Because if you're not exercising at all, we're not going to make this drastic adjustment. I have had one person that was training really, really hard, 2-a-day sessions that I did have to drop their calories a little bit, but we're still eating plenty of food.
Yeah.
Most people do not need to be in a deficit right now just because of like, even if we're not really stressing this, I think almost everyone has a little bit of stress during the current world situation right now. There's a little stress there. So a caloric deficit put another stressor on these people. If people have complete control over it and you're in like a diet already, or you're in a cut and it's going really well and you're still doing okay, I think you can continue it. I don't think, you know what I mean? I don't think we would have to take you out of that deficit as long as it's not extreme and you're not stressed to the max and sleeping awful now. If you're still doing fine, you're handling everything okay, that's the case. But yeah, I'm not in the boat of extremely cutting people's calories. I think it's not necessary. And I think most people don't need to be in a deficit. I think that most people need to we don't need to be focusing on fat loss. There's a lot of other things we can be focusing on right now during this time, especially if you're just at a healthy body weight already. Like, you just be healthy. We need to worry about our health. Like, I think that's one thing that we can take out of this is like, everybody has these worries and going on. And now the whole world is just worried about our health. So why can't we just all get on board with that and know that caloric deficit's not correlated with health?
Yeah, I feel I've been so like, I'm looking at it this way too. It's like we shouldn't be slashing calories, but if anything, like let's look at the quality of our calories now. Yeah. Like it's a great time to look at food quality right now. Like you go into stores, like you were saying earlier, like, hey, listen, my normal ground turkey, it's been absent for 3-4 weeks. I don't know where it is. Everyone's taking it. I've gone to multiple stores. So that to me was a stressor trying to find it. Now I have to adapt. So now what I'm going to do, bought some chicken here, bought some beef here, trying to adapt. I'm like, what I'm going to do? I'm going to focus more on greens. I'm going to focus more on smoothies and fruits and veggies. And I have been doing that. And you know what? Give it a go. Give it a go. Because the amount of food that I'm eating now is silly. When it's like 3, 4, 5 p.m., I look at how many calories I've left. I'm like, holy shit. Like I have a shit ton of calories left. And like, obviously that's an eye opener for me, and I should know better, right? As a nutrition coach, I should know better. But sometimes we let those things, get away from us a little bit. We forget about how awesome shoveling like piles of fruit and veggies in our mouth are, and how like low caloric it really can be to have a beautiful green smoothie with blueberries and strawberries. And you're like, oh, wow, that was like 20 carbs. And I put a couple of scoops of protein in it. Like, that was a really good snack. I'm full. I got my fiber in. I got all of my nutrients in. Like, people should be taking advantage of the quality right now and kind of take a look. Like, look at what's at the stores right now. Like, it's really weird. It's really weird. Like, I walk into my stores and the protein, I'm 30 or so minutes south of Chicago, guys. Justin is in Ohio, but where I'm at right now, like we said before, like protein's kind of scarce, but it's not. It's all the veggies, all the fruits, all the greens are still fucking there, people. What does that tell you?
Good luck getting some Doritos.
It's gone.
But there's definitely veggies, and I'm glad you said that, because that's been a big talking point that I've had when I do talk about nutrition right now with people. And surprisingly enough, a lot of my clients haven't even really wanted to talk about nutrition. I think they just wanted to vent and like have me as like, it's like a therapy session almost. They're checking in and they're talking about struggles that they have. They might not feel comfortable talking with somebody else because I'm their coach. We built that relationship, but like it is on food quality and like, more veggies. Making sure you're getting plenty of vitamins and minerals and stuff. That's a really good point that you just made, that if you're so worried about, your caloric deficit, if we just bring you out of that and you focus on food quality, I bet your body's going to end up looking better because of your food quality choices and the inflammation that's going to go down in your body through that.
Yes. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah. And like, that's why keeping your stress so low is so important. Like when people get stressed out, our bodies get inflamed. We sleep bad, our bodies get inflamed. Like we can like work on daily stress, work on really good sleep. We can probably improve our body composition without that caloric deficit, just purely off of decreased inflammation. And then another thing with nutrition that we can focus on, I've been taking a deep dive into people's food diaries and doing like an audit of it and being like, let's try to add some more omega-3 fats in there. Like, yeah. One thing I noticed at the store the other day is I haven't bought fish in a while. Sometimes I'll buy like a good cut of salmon once a week or something. It's expensive. That's why I don't buy it, being honest. I'm cheap. But there's been a lot of fish in stock still, like frozen fish. And a lot of fish has good fat sources in it. So a lot of like our omega-3s and just the standard Western diet is so full of omega-6 fats, like processed foods full of omega-6s. Most of the fats we eat are from omega-6, chicken, poultry, all that stuff is omega-6. We need to balance that. It's okay to have it in our diet, but we need some more omega-3s. A lot of people don't have. So supplementing with that and like adding in more fats that are good for us and that are going to help reduce inflammation as well. Really good place to focus on in our nutrition right now. It's just going to make you healthier.
Dude, it's so funny you said that, man, because I started recently just cooking again with extra virgin olive oil because I'm like, I know I need to start cooking with a little bit more fat now because I just a lot more veggies for me as an ex-chef. Like I'm not spraying my pan with nonstick spray to cook veggies. Like it needs a fat source for me to brown correctly and for the taste and the structure of it all. Like I know how to cook. I love extra virgin. It's funny you mentioned that, dude, because of sleep now that I'm getting better sleep. I may not be moving as much, but I'm adding more fats back into my diet. Like body's feeling really fucking good. It's feeling really different. Like I feel as my circadian rhythm's a little messed up. I still don't feel myself throughout the day, but my body's feeling better. My joints are feeling better. But that, of course, all can contribute. That's all contributed to more veggies, more fruits, more good fat, better fats. Yeah. Actually looking and taking, I take a lot of vitamin D. Like I do not get sun in the Midwest. I know some of you guys are listening to this all over the world. And it's like, listen, the Midwest is brutal right now. We've had a weird ass winter. We're having a weird ass spring right now. All these things are going on. Our bodies are stressed out. Like you got to get that vitamin D in, man. You got to take it in. So I've been taking that twice a day. I'm taking more vitamin C packets, powder packets. I'm taking all that stuff. Dude, this is the time, man. This is the time to really get these things going. And it's like, dude, the fat thing, man, I've been eating way more healthier extra virgin olive oil fats and actually more butters too. And it's like, man, I think I feel, you can tell when you start hitting your quota on that, you start feeling a lot better having those fats. And I do believe I was getting the fats from the wrong sources, or maybe it's not enough. And it was just like the wrong quality of the fats I was getting.
Oh, I mean, very, very well. It's very common. Just even us as coaches, like it's really easy to still get lost in the if it fits your macros thing. Yeah. And a lot of us do, and it works a lot of times. Until it doesn't. And then, we start doing something right and we're like, oh man, my joints feel pretty good. And I think a lot of that could come to if people are sitting at home and like, man, my joints feel pretty good too. Maybe your body needed a break from lifting heavy weights all the time too. Like
Dude.
maybe that happened because I know I didn't really work out much for like 2 weeks until I moved in here. Part of that was due because I did have a cold. I don't think it was the coronavirus. I think it was just a cold. I still stayed home. I didn't go to the gym because it was starting to heat up. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go to the gym. So I didn't coach any of my classes, anything like that. And then the whole next week, I pretty much took off too. And my body just felt really good. Like I squatted pretty high percentages. I'm like, man, this felt better than they have in a really, really long time. Just because I'm sleeping more, I'm less stressed out, and I'm eating better quality food. Like even me, I eat a pretty high quality diet, and like you know that you've attested to before. But we would still go out to dinner once a week at least, and now that's not really happening. So I'm just cooking all my food, and I feel really good. And I think a lot of people needed this time off from the gym, especially a lot of like people that are pounding themselves in the gym. We've talked about training volume before, and then I guess if we're talking about the gym, tell a story about my buddy. I have a buddy that does CrossFit. He's a pretty good athlete. He's locked down, doesn't have a whole lot of equipment. He has a rower, has like a dumbbell and a kettlebell and a little bit of weights. So he has more than a lot of people, but has had a weakness of running for a really long time. A lot of CrossFitters do. A lot of people do. A lot of people's conditioning is just not that good. And he's not the best at handstand push-ups. And he knows that. Strict handstand push-ups. He's always wanted to be better. Well, during this amount of time, he couldn't do a strict handstand push-up from a dead stop. And last night he sent me a video of super smooth from a dead stop handstand push-up. And now he's holding strict handstand push-ups for like sets of 5 for a 10-minute EMOM. And I'm like, that's in a short amount of time, guys. Think of a weakness you have, like something like that, and work on it. Exploit it. Like there's no reason to not improve. Like if you think that you're going to lose a ton of weight off your back squat in this amount of time, you're not. It might be a little bit of movement pattern, muscle memory stuff. It's going to come right back. But you can get a lot better at running. Like, because what else do we have to do? Go out and take a run. All distances, long distances, short distances, sprinting. We talked about that over text. There's a lot of things you guys can do. Nutrition, as we talked about, and I kind of just transitioned into just went off on my own tangent, talked about working out, but because that popped in my mind, like work on weaknesses, not only in your diet and auditing your diet and your nutrition, but in your training too. Like get better at something.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with like if you have a problem right now. Like I just asked my my client yesterday. I said, and she was I programmed for her and do her nutrition. She is stressful job, still going to school, very stressed out. Single mom, doesn't get a whole lot of sleep. I'm always wrestling with her to get her calories in. So eventually, I was just like, just hit your fucking calories. It's kind of one of those things like have fun with it. IIFYM all the way. Like I just need you to eat the calories. It was at that point that is better than where we were at. And I'm like. The other day, she's like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I don't have the gym. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like nothing changes. She's like, well, how are you going to program me? I'm like, I'll program you on Saturday like normal. And on Monday, you'll have workouts on your coach app, your True Coach app. You got this. She's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, how many like strict push-ups do you have? Perfect form, strict push-ups, pec to deck, all the way back up, total lockout. She's like, I think I have around like 15 to 18 before I start getting knocked off. I'm like, well, that's really, really, really good. I'm like, that's very good. I wasn't thinking that was her answer. And I'm like, how cool would it be when you came out of this to have 25 or 30? And she's like, whoa, never really thought about it that way. I'm like, how cool would it be if you shave off 15 seconds on your mile pace? She's like, never thought of it that way. And I'm like, we have the time. So let me start. She loves to run. And that's one thing I've actually had to pull her back on because she would run for like an hour and then go do my programming for CrossFit. And I'm like, you can't do that. don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. You're not a professional athlete. You're not eating enough to do that. So don't do it. So I actually had to pull her running back. So what am I doing now is I'm actually programming three runs for her, all different paces. One actually has sprints, all different paces, all different times, all different styles, all these things, repeats in a mileage here, just a nice easy 50% run here for 45 minutes. And then on the other days, I'm giving her body weight workouts. And guess what? She has a park down the street. She can do pull-ups on, she's gonna be doing, she's not going to hear this she won't hear this yet. So she'll be doing GI Jane tomorrow. She doesn't know that yet, so she's doing burpees and pull-ups for time and things like that. And she's like, and the other day she was like, oh my God, my legs are so sore. And I'm like, oh, why? Let me go back. Let me look what I programmed. She goes, you had me do a Tabata with jumping lunges in it. And I'm like, isn't that so funny how jumping, you're worried, you're crying about jumping lunges. And then like 2 weeks ago, you're doing 5x5 at 80% back squats, like ass to grass. And isn't it so funny? And she's like, I would never have thought that. I'm like, dude, the things that we do, like you were saying, a jumping lunge is, it's a controlled weight movement, but hey, it's a split. Your weight's all over the place. It's almost, unilateral work and stuff like that. Like you're not used to it. She's like, dude, my hamstrings are like, they're fried all the way up to my butt. And I'm like, yeah, like welcome to doing things in your house for time or outside, just as simple. So now guess what we're doing? We're doing a lot more of those to get her stronger, and we're doing a lot more single leg work and stuff. But she even said too, and I want to go back to what you said about the whole inflammation thing and all the vitamin D and the fish oils. I've noticed in myself too, getting out of the gym, my body just went, you can just tell the inflammation's gone because you're not lifting that type of weight anymore. You're not putting yourself in those stressful situations anymore. And I guarantee a lot of people right now are so, I got to get back in the gym. Just take the time, man. Relax. Let your body come back. Because when's the last time you actually took a deload? Now you're forced to take one. So take it.
And most people probably already have taken that deload enough to where now, if you've just been honestly putting off working out because you're making excuses that you can't, you absolutely can. So maybe now you should start doing stuff, because you definitely can. You can lose a lot of progress in this amount of time. I mean, don't take it as we're saying that you can just sit around and do nothing, right? Because we're not saying that. You do need to get off your ass and move a little bit. We got to move, even if you're just going for walks. Like, keep yourself healthy, because exercise is going to support a better immune system anyway, especially when we're doing it the right way. So I think that's important. And then when it comes to movement, we're talking about breaking down movement to its most core. Like, how many people need to work on their mobility?
Dude.
Almost everyone, like literally almost everybody that I see, especially in the gyms that I go to, which is primarily CrossFit gyms. If people come back and they still say you can't get into position to overhead squat, and say you spend 2 months just working on that position to overhead squat, and you come back in the gym and you can overhead squat, you have the mechanics and mobility to do so, you have made progress. You have made progress there.
That's a lot of progress. That's a ton of progress.
That's huge. What if you can't break it down even further? What if you can't squat to depth? We can probably both raise our hands. We don't have a perfect air squat. I don't have a perfect air squat. Most people don't. Why not break that mechanic down and work on the perfect squat mobility while you're at home? And then, you know how much stronger you're going to get once you start moving weights if you have a better squat mobility? Like, just your mobility to squat and your mechanics in your squat is better. Just stuff like that. We overlook that stuff until we have to think about it. Like right now, when you're thinking outside the box, you're like, yeah, I could definitely work on that. Like why, if you don't have double unders,
dude,
is my biggest pet peeve, when people don't have double unders, but they're RXing everything else, literally RXing everything else in the gym, and you're doing muscle ups, you don't have double unders. That's because you're not working on double unders. They're annoying. I know. It was like, I could do a ring muscle up before I could do a double under. That wasn't because I wasn't practicing it. But work on your double unders. You're at home, get them down. Don't ever let that be a reason you don't finish an open workout if you're a CrossFitter. If you're not a CrossFitter, you just work out. Like, maybe you don't need to do double unders, but there's still a good conditioning tool you can take home, and it's fun to learn. You're learning a new skill. So that's just a pet peeve of mine. I had to put that in there because I've been telling clients that. I'm like, do you have double unders? Oh, you don't? Well, how about when you go back to the gym, you do double unders? There's no excuse. Like, that's just a pet peeve of mine.
You should be practicing that shit in the kitchen as you cook. Like, I think
because you might not have a lot of equipment, but most people have a jump rope, and if you don't, jump ropes probably aren't sold out right now. I know weights are. I don't know if you've looked around or if you've had anybody you've probably seen it on social media. People can't find weights. It's insane. Dumbbells. Like, I had a buddy ask me if I knew where to get dumbbells. I'm like, man, I bought a dumbbell. I had a dumbbell before all this crazy stuff went down. I went and got one. And good luck. Like, the thing is, we were talking about me building my gym earlier. I ordered my rig and weights before I knew anything was getting locked down, because we were already moving, and I knew I was wanting to build a garage gym. That was something I already wanted to do. It just came at a good timing for me. I got very lucky because 1 week later, gym shut down. Everybody, They sold every place out. Man, shipping's behind. Like, Rogue Fitness here in town has a 14 to 21 delay on shipping, and they are quick with shipping. If anybody's ever ordered from Rogue, you order something from Rogue and they ship it out same day, next day. Now it's 14 to 21 days because they're just being pounded.
They basically had social media. They shut down social media because they said, hey, for the next, couple weeks ago or last week, they said for the next 24 to 48 hours, we've shut down all incoming orders. Like we can't, that's it. They just went, they pulled the whole plug on their website because they couldn't even have people backed up. They're just like, we're done. We can't. They didn't have people to do it. Equipment was scarce. And they're just like, whoop, we're pulling the plug on our website right now for the next 24. We'll see you in a minute. And I think that's a testament to like, shit, man. Like, hey,
people are getting ready. And for anybody listening, if you guys want to build a garage gym, wait about 3 months and get on Facebook Marketplace for all the cheap gym equipment that people are reselling because they've used it 3 times.
That's a very, very, very good point. I think I will take advantage of that. Actually, I'd be able to get some real cheap shit here in the next couple of weeks. That's gonna happen. Yeah, people are just overbuying shit right now. I'm like, what am I gonna do with all these fucking weights? I get to go back to the gym.
Why did I buy 3 rowers? I don't understand.
You're running a small CrossFit gym out of your garage.
Yeah. Oh, it's addicting. I think I told you that. I don't know if anybody that's listening has a garage gym, and if you do, it's really cool and it like makes you. It felt like an accomplishment. Like once I started building it, and I get why my brother bought so much stuff because my brother has a full-on garage gym, and it's nice. Like he has several barbells, everything you want basically he has. But I bought a rack and I was like, yeah, I think I need this. And I just started adding stuff to a cart and thankfully I have a little bit of self-control that I'm like, I don't need that. I just started deleting stuff and my cart's been full like 5 or 6 times with different stuff. And like, there's still things that I want, but I'm going to wait a little bit. And cause the gym's going to open back up. I have enough to where I can, like if something happened, like the roads are bad in the winter or something, I can go out in my garage and do some squats and I can go ride the bike and I can do some dumbbell work, but I can't do everything out there.
Right.
But I can do a lot.
You can do enough though. You can do enough, man, with what you got.
I don't need to go spend another $1,000. Like I just don't need to as much as I want to.
Right. And you were thinking outside the box because I saw you post the other day on your story. You were doing like box jump overs with like a bunch of like 2x4s or something like you had stacked up or something.
It was like a couple of weight plates and then some cardboard boxes and some wood in there because I took my tape measure off. I kept measuring it up because I wanted to get a 30-inch box and I didn't feel comfortable jumping on top of it, obviously, but I jumped over it. And
that's awesome.
I mean, that's what people need to do. And like get creative with stuff, like do some different stuff. My brother made a sandbag out of a military duffel bag. I've seen people doing that with like backpacks and like throwing stuff in backpacks and squatting with the backpack on their back, doing bear hug squats, carries. Like people are getting creative. So, use social media for its benefit and block out all that negative stuff that's on social media right now. And, if you're looking to improve your fitness, like people are putting out some cool stuff right now. They really are. There's some really good, like the good social media influencers are really putting out good information and giving really great ideas.
There's a ton of stuff out there right now. It's just like, pick your poison, man. I mean, really, you can go on everyone's giving away, free information right now and working on it. And we've always have done that, but it's like now more than ever, people are like, well, what do I do? Just pick someone, run with it, give it a go. Hey, keep your movement going, But Jay, before we get off, I want to ask you, what are three things that people can do within the next 30 days today, when they get off this podcast? What are some actionable items? 3 most important things you think you can give them right now to be like, hey, you guys need to go do this immediately right when you get off this podcast.
Okay. That's a good question. The first thing I would say would be get your stress under control of some sort. Find something that relieves your stress, preferably outside of exercise. Exercise is great, and everybody always says that that's their relief, but in all reality, that does cause some stress on our bodies. So pick something to do, and I think the morning's a good time to do it just because you can build that habit of whether that's journaling out your thoughts or if that's meditation, and maybe it's mobility and deep breathing. That'd be number 1. Get a hold of your stress because right now is a very stressful time.
For real.
2 would be to stop making excuses with your nutrition because a lot of people do all the time, and take this time that you're stuck at your house to learn how to cook and learn different ideas. Let's learn how to cook because a lot of people just don't know how to cook and they're confused. And I think that right now you don't have to be a great cook. I'm not a great cook, but I cook all my food and it's fine. I get by and I'm still learning every day. So 2, learn how to cook. And 3, don't think of this as social distancing. Think of it as physical distancing and call somebody you love and talk to them and text people and still keep in contact. Because I think one of the best things we can do for our health is have human interaction with people. And it's actually been proven that relationships are like directly correlated with our health. So, don't social distance, physical distance right now, and still talk to people you care about, and still try to make connections, and maybe reach out to somebody you haven't talked to for a while. I think that'd be a great tip that people can take away that a lot of people probably aren't doing.
Dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much for those 3 tips. Jay, where can everyone find you at, man?
You can find me on Instagram at Justin_Larrance, Larrance. It's pretty much where I'm at all the time. If you want coaching, themethodnow.com.au, you can go there and apply and reach me for coaching, for nutrition coaching. But yeah, don't hesitate. Instagram's the best place. Pretty much the only place I'm on right now, unfortunately. But if you reach out to me there, that's where I'll get back to you.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time and energy, brother. I really do appreciate you coming back on the show again. And guys, if you can do us a huge favor, please go and take a screenshot of your favorite part, share it to your story, tag Justin and or myself, and we will show you some love right back. And please leave a 5-star rating. It really helps the Everyday Growth podcast jump up in the rating. So guys, like I always like to end the conversations, thank you so much for your time and energy. I know time is something that we can never get back. And some of the energy that you give us too, you'll never get that back either. So thank you so much. Without you, we wouldn't be here. And without you, Justin and I probably would have never met. And without you, we probably wouldn't be helping other people coach. So guys, thank you so much. We love each and every one of you. Justin, thank you so much for being on the show again, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's always a pleasure.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, man.
Yep, later.